Our next story is from Indonesia, where deadly protests have erupted. They began last week as a peaceful demonstration, but then quickly turned into riots, leaving at least 5 people dead. Thousands of Indonesians took to the streets. They set fire to legislative buildings and looted homes of lawmakers. The government responded with military action. This is Indonesia's worst wave of protests in years. But what is behind it? And what does it mean for the government? Here's a report.
Thousands of protesters on the streets, buildings and vehicles torched, homes looted, at least 5 people killed, and many others injured. As Indonesia sees its worst wave of violent protests in years, it all began last Monday. Rallies erupted in Jakarta over perks of lawmakers. Recently, Indonesia approved a monthly housing allowance of $3,000 for lawmakers. This is more than 10 times the national average minimum wage in the country. As living costs rise and wages stagnate, resentment has grown among ordinary Indonesians. Amid this, the lawmakers' perks came as a shock. So protesters, mainly made up of students and labor union members, took to the streets. It was peaceful at first, but things quickly turned deadly. On Thursday, August 28th, anger escalated. A motorcycle taxi driver, 21-year-old Afan Kurniawan, was run over by a police vehicle at a protest site. This triggered a clash between the police and protesters.
The trigger was the death of our friend Afan. I cried seeing the news. I'm appalled and angry.
Demonstrations continued into the weekend, spreading across the country. Protesters set fire to legislative buildings. They looted the houses of parliamentarians, forcing the Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto to cancel his planned visit to China and respond with a 2-pronged approach, backtracking while tightening his fist. The president made an announcement on Sunday, flanked by the leaders of various political parties.
The House of Representatives leaders announced that they would repeal several parliament policies, including the amount of parliament member allowances and the moratorium on overseas working visits.
After reducing lawmakers' benefits, he also ordered stern action by the military and police.
I have ordered the police and the Indonesian National Armed Forces to take the strongest possible action against all forms of damage to public facilities, looting of individual homes, public places.
After the crackdown, protests have simmered down, but many demonstrators remain undeterred.
The reason we're still protesting on the streets is that President Prabowo's statement yesterday in his press conference did not accommodate demands from students and civil society. Besides that, there's too much involvement of the military in the demonstrations. We don't want civilian spaces to be infiltrated by the military, as we fear there could be a martial law.
Economic and political frustration has been brewing for months. It has been a year of protests against President Prabowo. He is a former army general with a controversial past. He took over as president last October. He promised to tackle corruption and boost self-reliance. But many of his policies have been widely controversial, including reforms to expand the military law, proposals to raise land and property taxes, and a free school lunch program that has been marred by mass food poisoning cases. While protests have ebbed and flowed, the latest wave is the most significant challenge to President Prabowo's leadership. Indonesians see his concessions as a band-aid solution. Until their economic hardships are addressed, the country remains on edge, waiting for another round of protests to inflame.
As Trump's trade war rattles the world, all eyes turn to Tianjin, host of the SCO summit. Prime Minister Modi makes his first visit to China in 7 years. India's policy of multi-alignment faces its biggest test. Will the outreach to China open the door to a new partnership? And will talks with Russia add weight to India's stance against trade wars and tariffs? Catch Vantage live from Tianjin.